Hey, my friends, welcome back. This week, we're going to get a little nerdy on the topic of loans and lines of credit and what does it mean if you're in first position, second position, or third position, also known as first lien, second lien, third lien position. Why does it matter? And I'm going to slip in a little nuance about solar because sometimes solar companies have a lien on the property, and it's important to know what that means and what position they're in because that could impact you in your future when it comes to financing options for your own home. So first, I'm going to caveat this. I love to show people how to get out of their mortgages, how to ditch their mortgages, and replace it with a faster method called a first lien position HELOC, HELOC, home equity line of credit. And that's different than home equity loan. So let's talk about those three real quick, just to get vocab out there. Mortgage is an amortized loan, which means you take the money out and you pay it back over time. The interest is usually paid up front. Well, it's paid up front. You pay a lot of interest up front. And it's ultimately a compound interest formula where you are paying the bank compound interest over the period of time. What does that mean? It means by the time you pay off your loan, especially if it's a 30-year loan, you probably paid twice for that property. Half of it in interest, half of it for the actual property. We can do the math, sometimes even more, sometimes a little less too. But generally speaking, you're paying a lot of interest with an amortization schedule. A home equity loan is when you have, the keyword is equity, you have equity in your home and you want to borrow on that equity, meaning you bought the house, you paid down some of the balance, and the house is now worth more than you owe. And that gap is equity. And sometimes people want to take a loan out all at once, say it's 10 grand, let's just use that number. And then they have their mortgage and the loan on top of the mortgage. So they owe still the mortgage and an additional 10 grand. So they're going into more debt. And I want to make that obvious, into more debt. That's not what you're trying to do here. So people love to tap into the equity. You have to do it for the right reason. So the mortgage, let's talk about what position that is. When you have a mortgage, that's the first position. The bank gets paid back first on your mortgage, or the first ones who get to claim the rights to your money if something happens. If the house gets foreclosed, the bank gets the house. They're in first position. If you have the loan, the home equity loan on top of that, that's going to be called a second position. So they get paid second. Bank gets paid back first for the house. Once you straighten up that mess, then you pay back these guys. The positioning is only for who gets paid back first, second, third. And then you got a third position. So the third person to get paid back. And there's also a home equity line of credit, which is basically a giant credit card on your house, which you're going to only take advantage of the home equity line of credit if you are already responsible. This is dangerous. If you're not good with credit cards, then this is not a good option for you because it's too tempting to spend the money. But it's a super powerful tool to pay your house off fast. And I'm going to be getting into that. You're going to see in the near future a digital course option where I walk through all of that. But you can watch my videos to get little tastes of that. Just scroll through the title and look for the HELOC titles. I'll drop a link to the last one that I recorded in the description too. But home equity lines of credit can be in the second position. They can also be in the first position. You can actually completely replace your mortgage. Oh, that's the hubster back there. He's coming in. You can completely replace your first position mortgage with a first position HELOC, which is a win-win for the banks. They still get paid first. It's just with a different product. So it's important for you to know your bank products, what you're borrowing, and what position each of those recipients, those lenders are in. So I want to talk about this too, because with solar, I think they're getting away from it, but I think it still happens, is that solar companies can put a lien on your house for a certain time based on the life of the panels or the contract. And that's really important to know if you have a lien on your property because of solar panels, because a lot of times what will happen is you get your house, solar company comes in, you put those panels on. Now the solar company is in second lien position. You have equity in your house and you're saying, okay, I either want to use that to help defeat interest with this method, or you're trying to take out more money and get into more debt. I hope that I can deter you from doing that, but let's use that scenario of how it works. You're coming in to refinance for whatever reason, maybe getting out of other debt, and you're using the low interest to pay off fast, not to stay in the amortization schedule for the life of the loan. Always pay off your debt fast. So anyway, the solar company is kind of sandwiched in between your house and that next product you're trying to get. Sorry, I'm covering my mouth here. So that solar company now is in second position. They get paid back second. You're going to have a really hard time finding a bank who's going to lend you money in third position. I actually just had a conversation with a banker today who said they refuse to lend money in the third position. So what happens is you then have to use this to either pay off the solar loan, or if you sell your house, you have to pay it off or transfer it for the financing reasons. I'm not going to go into all of it. I'm actually not a loan officer, so I'm giving you the ideas of how these concepts work and why it's important for you to know what the words mean so you can be an informed consumer and put the power in your hands when you make decisions around this. So again, just remembering, first lien position means that's the lender who gets paid first. If there's a financial crisis, they're the first to get paid back. Second lien position doesn't mean you don't pay the person in second lien position. You want to keep good standing. This is assuming something goes wrong and you need to recoup and recover from a financial disaster. Who's going to start getting paid back first? Who's going to recoup the property if something goes wrong? If, say, your house gets foreclosed and there's not enough to pay all your debts off because you have a mortgage and you have another product, another loan, home equity loan or home equity line of credit in second position. If the bank sells the house, I know my hands are all up in this. I need more space to move around. But if the bank sells the house, hopefully they're going to get enough for it to pay the house off and all the debt because you have equity in there too. So you're assuming that when you took the loans out, you had enough equity to pay for the rest of the mortgage and the loan that you took out or the line of credit. But say you're in a housing crisis too, and it was a lower sale, and there's not enough to pay back the loan in first position. These guys up here who are in second position or third position, guess what happens? They're not getting their money. So the further away you are from first position as a lender, the more risk you're taking in getting paid back or not paid back. So what I really like to teach is get rid of the mortgage. You're paying a ton of interest in a mortgage. You're going to replace the mortgage with a first lien position HELOC. This is going to go away. Now you have a new product that's in first position. And now the banks don't mind that. There's a lot of research you can do. Banks don't shut down first lien positions like they do second lien positions in financial crisis. There's a lot of homework you can do in that space, but banks really don't mind that. They just don't get paid as much in closing costs with a first lien position HELOC because it doesn't require all those extra fees, which is really cool. So I'm going to get you guys really excited in the coming videos with my digital course about the power of a first lien position HELOC, home equity line of credit, not a loan, a line of credit. So we're going to dive into that, but now you have your education for the week. First lien position, second lien position, third lien position, first, second, third to get paid back. That's it. So when you put yourself in those shoes as a lender, if you're lending to friends and you've got a buddy, Joe, who's like, hey, can I borrow some money? You're like, cool, when am I going to get paid back? And Joe says to you, well, I've got to pay back Mary first. And then after I pay back Mary, I've got to pay back Melissa. And then after I finish paying back Melissa, I can pay you back. So you're thinking, okay, if Joe's not making money and he's not paying people back, I'm really not going to get paid back if he owes Mary and Melissa before he owes me my money. So you're going to think about, what's that relationship? Can I trust that relationship? Put yourself in the same shoes as a banker. Again, the point is not to go into debt. It's actually to use bank products to get yourself out of debt. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. So thanks for joining me for this little nerd out session. There's going to be more to come. It is not always easy, but it's always worth it. And it's fun when you have tools in your tool belt to do things unconventionally, to put more money back in your pocket and get you doing things that matter most to you in your life. Do more of what's most important. So that's it for this week. Thank you for watching. Reach out to me, either throw it in the comments if I confused you. I'm happy to clarify. Jump on my website, moneywisemom.com. You can subscribe to get little tidbits like this. How else can you reach me? By email. leah@moneywisemom.com, LEAH@moneywisemom.com. I'd love to hear from you. And I'm so glad that you're on this journey. You have what it takes to take control of your finances. So just do one baby step at a time. And what you did today was watch this video and improved your knowledge. So you accomplished it for the week. All right. Have a great weekend, guys. And I'll see you next week. Bye.